Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another video game design video tutorial. Today we're going to be reviewing content from last time and then talking about animations and how to make your digital imagery move and come to life. Last time we talked about a pixel. The pixel again is the smallest controllable element on your computer screen. You're essentially arranging and coloring different squares to create a digital image. The more pixels you have, the higher the quality of the image, but please make sure you look at the minimum and maximum requirements for your background character and power-ups and items so you don't get too detailed, because the more detailed it is, the more work it is as well. So now what we're going to do is talk about new vocabulary terms: animation and frame rate. Animation is multiple still images arranged to create the illusion of motion. For example, this horse running here is simply just 12 still photographs quickly cycling through each other to create that action or that motion. A frame rate, or FPS, is just the ratio of the individual images per the time. So although it takes 10 to 12 frames to trick the human eye, you can just use 2 frames per second potentially for your simpler animations. So now we're going to be looking at some different character animations. The bottom right, Pokemon, is a very simple, basic animation where the head goes up and down. And the other two, as you can see, are much more fluid, have much more frames, but are also much more challenging to do. You need to do at least a 2-frame animation like the Pokemon on the bottom right. A walking cycle, although seems simple, is really complex. So Sonic the Hedgehog here, that's a lot more impressive to do. Same thing with Yoshi and Mario here, it's a lot more difficult. And if you want an extreme challenge, this is a very difficult task to accomplish. And your environment is also important to have a little bit of subtle action in here. If you look carefully, the steam, the flickering light, the trees blowing in the wind, a little bit of movement in the fog are all very subtle, but also important. So here's how you make your animations. You're going to be creating animations through the frame tiles on the top left toolbar. You're going to be moving, duplicating, and deleting the frames as the icons indicate on the examples here. You can also adjust the speed, which is basically 1 to 24 frames per second, to make it appear very slow and choppy or really quick and fast. Okay, so now let's get into the video tutorial. The first thing you're going to do is you need to duplicate your frame. That's usually what I recommend, so you can add a little bit of change. So there I'm kind of showing you, if you just move it up or down slightly, you can see how it's flipping back and forth between that action. Now what I'm doing is I'm grabbing the lasso tool. I'm going to select his head and basically cut and decapitate my character. Add another layer and then Control V or paste that head back on there. Move that slightly down and you see his head goes up and down because it's flipping back and forth between the frame 1 and the frame 2. The next thing I'm going to be doing is taking the lasso tool again and selecting his torso. So I'm going to be moving just his upper body, adding a layer, cutting him off of there, and then pasting it back on there. Then I'm going to be moving that torso slightly down. So it gives a little bit of wiggle in his torso as well as his head. So I'm basically layering these different things on several different transparencies so I can manipulate them. Now I'm adding another layer and I'm specifically moving and selecting his legs. I cut off his legs, move them up 1 on the other layer, so now the feet kind of move a little bit as well. So you can just basically pick apart the body, cut it off, and put it on different layers and move them slightly up and down to give that motion or that action of breathing or moving or swaying so your character is not so static. Now, if you want to have a lot more dynamic motion, you might have to, for example, delete a whole arm and then redraw it on another frame. Here, what I basically do is just move it up. So you have a lot of variety and a lot of options, and some of these are more complex, but this is the basic thing that I want you to work on for your character. As always, once you're done, please complete the daily participation form, taking a screen capture of your animation or your frames. You might not be done with your character today, but please show evidence of your progress. And also, I covered this in another video, but please pop in an office hour and show me your work before you are done. I want to see your character, environment, item, and power-ups before or after the animation is added so I can give you some feedback, so I can see your work, and I can talk verbally with you face-to-face virtually. Once I've okayed your work, then you have the green light to work on your artist statement and be done. So please pop in at any time when it's convenient for you, 1 to 2 p.m. daily for my office hours. So that does it for today's video, guys. As always, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to pop in for my office hours, 1 to 2 p.m. daily, or shoot me an email. I hope you have a great day, work hard, and be creative.